This entire military is one cohesive, dedicated force. And the threats to our nations, they don't sleep. They're watching our every move. Iran, Russia, China, North Korea, ISIS, Al-Qaeda. They may be watching this right now. Our military should not be mistaken for a cable news gabfest show. We don't care what you look like. We don't care who you voted for, who you worship, what you worship, who you love. It doesn't matter if your dad left you millions when he died or if you knew who your father was. We have been honed into a machine of lethal moving parts that you would be wise to avoid if you know what's good for you. We will not be intimidated. We will not back down. We don't want war. But if you want war with the United States of America, there's one thing I can promise you, so help me God. Someone else will raise your sons and daughters.
Opinions expressed in this program are those of the speakers and do not necessarily reflect the views or positions of any entities they represent.
So my answer to going to college was join the Army. 1992, my life changed forever. PCS to Germany with my two boys and really try to take advantage of the opportunity to travel, learn another language, the culture. It was to me the dream coming true, that everything that I'd been going through was worth it, because I was seeing another part of the world that I wouldn't have had the opportunity if I hadn't been in the military. Planned on getting out in 2000. That was really kind of a part of a joy in my life, and getting married for the second time. And I looked forward to the future. Ended up kind of becoming disillusioned, and that was the whole housing bubble thing where the mortgage jumped from bank to bank to bank. My kids were counting on me to take care of them, to ask for that kind of help. I've done to help other women is make sure that they know what their resources are. It's for a long time I didn't understand that my service in the military counted as a woman veteran, but nobody told me, hey Eva, you are a veteran too, until I had that light bulb moment and said, my service counted too. And I can tell you it's been a long road to learn how to dream again. The community was the solution, be it churches, be it nonprofits, be it veteran service organizations, or just people like myself. We are the resources. We are the solution to help keeping women off of the street, our women veterans housed and having the resources they need and not living in a car. Of the work that grows us as leaders for our second service after the military to serve other people in our communities.
Hey, how are you, everybody? Today is Saturday, October 25th, the year of our Lord, 2025. And this is now day 25 of the furlough. I am one of those furloughed employees, work in DC. So this has been pretty interesting to, what do I do with my time? And had a surprise this week and being able to work on an RV. My dad brought an RV back from Oklahoma. So the demo inside, well, as a part of the, renovation of it, that has begun. So, out of pain, there is purpose, right? That even the old things like an RV, it's a 1997 Terry 22-footer, is going to get some new life. And I think in some ways that's a lot how we are to that, we breathe new life into the things that we do. Maybe this, this sounds a little bit better. Get the mic a little bit closer to me. That we are sometimes like some of this, the equipment that we deal with, we have to PMCS the equipment. Yep, I still use that acronym PMCS, but we are just like that as well, PMCSing ourselves, whether it's physical, mental, emotional, or spiritual. We still have to do the things that we need to do to keep us running, functioning inside and out like we're supposed to, and keep living the best life that we can. And if things are not working quite so well, gets a little wonky, then we shift focus. So I'm not sure where my guest is. I do have a guest. Not sure. Maybe he's calling me. I don't know. Somebody's calling me, but I don't know who that is, so I'm not going to answer the phone. What I'm getting at, if I can turn the mic around, sorry. Ooh, that sounds good. So I'm supposed to have a guest. I'm not sure. Oh, I think he's trying to join, so hopefully he can come back on. Come back on, Bryce, if you can hear me. So I do have a really good guest. I met him several years ago. Try that connection again. And he is phenomenal. I went to an event. There he's coming on. Went to an event several years ago. And this was put on by the Veteran. The Veteran Chamber of Commerce. I think that's what it is. Can't quite see your camera or something, Bryce. So whenever you get the camera focused, I see some kind of a shadow or something. So Bryce, anyways, if I can find it's going to go back to his profile because he had so much in there. And he is amazing. I saw his art at this exhibit. Like I said, it was being put on by the Veteran Chamber of Commerce from the North Texas area. So shout out to that crew. That it was a phenomenal event. Different types of art was there. Bryce, I don't know what's going on with your camera. It still looks a little wonky, so that's why I'm not adding you on the stage yet. So hopefully he can hear me. I think he's getting it adjusted. So the, part of what, he has a comment on one of something that he had posted about one of his videos. He does some video of his art, and this is reading from his page. Suicide is an act of self-destruction, having as causes the following: 1, lack of courage to live and to cope with difficulties. 2, defeat by life and loss of all hope. 3, desire for non-existence. And here's what he was talking about. The monk who burns himself has lost neither courage nor hope, nor does he desire non-existence. On the contrary, he is very courageous and hopeful and aspires for something good in the future. He does not think that he is destroying himself. He believes in the good fruition of his act of self-sacrifice for the sake of others. I believe with all my heart that the monks who burned themselves did not aim at the death of their oppressors, but only at a change in their policy. Their enemies are not man. They are intolerance, fanaticism, dictatorship, cupidity, hatred, and discrimination which lies within the heart of man. Thich Nhat Hanh, the younger sibling of Thich Quang Duc, painted here, is a letter to Martin Luther King. So let me go back over to, all right, he's trying to reconnect, I think. But let me share that because he's got, y'all really need to see, this guy has some phenomenal art. And I think it's worthy of being able to share. I see you. I'm trying to get back over to that. Let's see. Why? There we go. Little technical difficulties. There we go. Hey, Bryce,
hey.
how are you?
Good. So, technical difficulties. I dropped my phone, and the little camera, obviously that's looking at me, is broken. So that's why it's so blurry. And I'm like, how do I turn the camera around? And I'm running from a kid's birthday party back to my house, my office, trying to like get it all set up. And I'm like, what's my password to log in? Yeah.
Oh no, I get it. You know, and Daryl, do you know Daryl Hartley? He's a chaplain with the Veteran Service Organizations, or has been, but he's in the North Texas area. So he's been kind of co-hosting with me. But he had a death to go to attend to. That happens as a chaplain. But anyways, I'm going to show this. If I could go back to the Facebook page, and I'm going to replay this video because I think it was so phenomenal. Why did it keeps freezing? I need to stay on the Facebook for it to do it. So maybe you can talk about what you're doing in the video.
Yeah, so I just do a time lapse of all my art, which, if we're not connected on Facebook, can be found on, YouTube and LinkedIn and Instagram. You can see all my videos if you follow me there. But yeah, so I kind of basically, this was actually a commission. I've done the Burning Monk before, and the guy wanted it. And so I redid it. Unfortunately, I did that one when I was traveling for work, and I was flying through London, and I was jet lagged. I stopped at like a cafe to have breakfast, and I raced to the plane. And when I got to the plane, I realized I didn't have my painting with me.
Oh, no.
And so from the plane, I call the cafe, I Google it, and I figure out what cafe I was at. I said, hey, did you happen to find a rolled up canvas? And they're like, no, nothing here. I was like, no, this is where I was. And like, it's not here. So someone somewhere in the world, and we're talking about a matter of like 20 minutes. I mean, I was on the plane. You can't get back off.
Right. They have this video. They have this art.
No, that's gone. It's gone. It's somewhere in the world. Somebody found it in London, Terminal B. And is the new owner of it, or it's in the trash somewhere. Who knows? Who knows where it's at? Yeah.
Wow.
So it's gone.
I was so drawn to what you were doing. Oops, I got to stay on it. It doesn't keep the video going unless I stay in Facebook. So I'm sorry, I can't see you. I just have to stay on the tab for Facebook. But I was so. I want to say enamored. That's not the right word. I'm not a painter, right? I am not artistic in that way. I have learned over the years that I have some other artistic talents, but painting is not one of them. But you had so many up there on the wall. It was just, wow, incredible. It was between you and that other guy that was over in the other corner. I spent quite a bit of time. Yeah.
A lot of deep meaning in his pieces.
You have what?
He had a lot of deep meaning in his pieces.
Oh, for sure. Yeah. And they were colorful too.
Yes. Vibrant. Yeah.
So how did you get started with doing art?
Yeah. So drawing in high school, basically. And then I used to travel. I was in the Army, so I traveled a lot. I spent 14 years overseas in different countries. And I kept a journal with me of a drawing. So, a lot of people travel to different places and collect patches or magnets or postcards. I would go somewhere and sit 3-4 hours and draw. I would sketch, a cathedral or something all over the world. And so I happened to be traveling through Barcelona, and I got pickpocketed on the beach. I thought it would be a great idea to leave my bag on the beach. I didn't guess I'd get pickpocketed. I got robbed, and I jumped in the ocean with my buddies. And when I came back, the backpack was gone. And it was like, forget the wallet and the money. That's all replaceable.
Right.
I lost my art journal. You know, I had like 10 years worth of sketches in it. And so I kind of paused any kind of art for like 5-6 years. And then when I got out of the Army, what do you do? You know, in the Army, you're working 12, 14, 15-hour days.
Right.
And all of a sudden I only have to work, you know, relatively half that amount of time. And I was like, I have all this discretionary time. What am I going to do? And my wife was like, hey, you got to get a hobby. You got to do something. She's like, I didn't marry. This is a real quote. She goes, I didn't marry you to spend this much time with you. So, so I started painting, you know, drawing, you know, I can paint in 40 hours what would take me 400 hours to draw, you know, especially on the size that I'm doing.
But I look at this like, you know, you capture those eyes. You are so good with portions. How do you?
So I've never have any besides high school drawing class. I have no formal training, right? So it's like everything that I'm doing. I'm over 100 paintings now, and so everything I'm doing is just what I learned in high school, just with more practice. So I use the exact same principles, and that's why almost all my paintings are in black and white, right? Because I remember one of the first classes you take in art class is, say white is 0 and black is 10. Now create 10 boxes and shade them in a progressive level of darkness, right? And there's your 10 values of white to black and all your shades of gray, right? And so I've just continued doing that. And I think on the highest level, I think I've gotten up to like 36 shades of gray, you know, between, instead of 1 through 10, I'm now 1 through 36, but it's still the same principle. And it's basically looking at, you know, creating, I do a lot of stuff on Photoshop first and saying, oh, okay, I have an idea in my head and this is what I want to create.
Marilyn.
Yeah. So like that, I created on Photoshop first. And then I look at it and I'm like, okay, well, this small area looks like, you know, on a scale of 1 to 36, this looks like an 18 shade of gray versus this area over here is a 22 shade of gray. And I just
you have it in your head.
For me, it's all
visualize
math.
It. Right.
Yeah. So for me, it's all math. And I weigh my paint out and very mathematically to like, so it's everything is like numerically, this is, you know, 0.57 percent darker than 17 is 0.757% darker than 16, you know, and it adds up to 100% or whatever that is. I'm just making those numbers up. And I just look at a painting. I said, that looks like a 22. I'm going to paint a 22 shade of gray there. And that's it. That's how I've taken this things I learned in high school and just made it bigger and more elaborate, but it's still the same principle.
Well, I get it because a lot of it is really about the depth or the shade of light that you're trying to put on there, right?
Yeah, you just create contrast to help it pop. If I did all my paintings between 10 and 15, it would just be, there's not enough contrast between those levels to capture any movement. It would just be a blob of gray.
It's incredible. What has been your favorite piece so far?
Yeah, that's interesting. I was over 100 paintings on that now, and I tried to move to Germany earlier this year for a job. It didn't work out with visa for my family, so I came back. But at that time, I was like downsizing, and so I probably gave 30 paintings away just to declutter my house. And I've started doing bigger and bigger. I used to put everything on frames. Now I'm doing everything just on rolled canvas. So that way I can roll everything up, you know, and now my wife's like,
and not take up the space, right?
Right. I don't want to take up the space because now my whole garage, I have a 3-car garage. It was completely full of paintings. So basically my favorite pieces
you need to have an art exhibit and sell it.
Yeah, we can get into that. That's never really worked very well. That's my jujitsu journey.
I saw that the other day and I was like, okay,
so when you get promoted, then it's kind of like a rite of passage. So you go from one belt to the other. Yeah, I mean, we can talk about art shows. I've had very, very limited success with art shows. It's very difficult to ascertain the purchasing power of the audience. It's
Is
kind of
that
like,
even like the Fort Worth, art festival or South Lake?
I'm not familiar with those. Usually, okay, so
really? Downtown Fort Worth, there's the Fort Worth Art Festival. That's a big, huge thing. And they, basically you rent a booth. I mean, I know you have to have the upfront capital for that.
And who makes the money is the people that put on the show. They sell booths and they make the money.
Oh, no, I get that. But those same artists travel to those different, city art festivals. And, I'm just saying, look
that's
them
the
up.
convention. That's the conventional wisdom is you got to get out there to sell. The problem is, again, it's your purchasing power of your local audience very few high-end buyers are there. People will want something that takes me 60 hours and they'll offer me $50 for it. I'm like, I'm more in
I know,
material, the tolls, the gas.
You could make more money waiting tables than that.
Exactly. So I don't do shows anymore. Just because it's not a good ROI of my time.
Oh, got you.
And it's always been a cost. It's never been, besides the one show that we met at, where I had a piece that wasn't for sale. I was just there to as a placeholder to show people my broad band of capabilities.
Right.
Because that was earmarked for a charity, right? That's near and dear to my heart. And the guy's like, I want that piece. I said, I'm sorry. It's not for sale. It's just here to show you what I can do. And I'm happy to paint you a commission in that style, but that one's not for sale. He goes, no, I want that one. There is a number on it. What is your for sale number? And I told him, and he came back. I mean, it was an absolutely ridiculous number, right? And he came back with 50% of that, which is still a ridiculous number to pay for a painting.
Okay.
I probably would, and I was like, sold. I didn't even try to negotiate. I was like, it's such a ridiculous number. So besides that, I've been able to sell. I've done quite a few commissions, but I really just paint what I like to paint for me, not necessarily for sale. If I was doing it from a business perspective, then I would paint what people are willing to buy. Yeah, and that's not necessarily what I want to paint.
Well, no, that makes sense because you don't feel passionate about that,
right? And you end up.
I mean, it's like I write books, right? I write. But I can't write about something that I'm not interested in.
Exactly.
You just don't feel the passion for that. And that makes, I don't know if is there like an artist block? I get writer's block too.
No, I have the other problem. I don't get artist block. I have the exact opposite. I have too many ideas.
Oh,
I have too many ideas. And that's why I don't draw I can't draw fast enough. I can paint an idea faster, but I still always have at least 6 to 10 ideas in the queue. And now I think I'm up to, I'd have to count. I probably have about 20 ideas. And then, the bottom 14, I just leave in a miscellaneous folder on my computer of I'm probably never going to get to those.
Right.
And I went through the process of working out the composition in my head, putting it on.
Let's go. I heard that in my head. Sorry, I don't know if it was
and it's so I just keep kind of a rolling top 5 that I'll actually try to commit to painting.
Yeah.
But I can usually do maybe 10 a year.
That's at least one a month.
Yeah, if I'm pushing hard, I can do one a month if I'm pushing hard. But when I'm doing 3 foot by 4 foot, I can probably knock that out in about a month. But this year I've kind of set my, for 2026, I'm really going to leave the 3 foot by 4 foot behind. And I'm going to push to 6 by 8 foot, 8 by 10 foot, really big pieces. So I'm really going to try to just hone it in on maybe 3 pieces for the next year.
Okay.
So and then those will be really big pieces. So we'll see.
I think one of the fascinating things that I noticed a couple of years ago, and even looking at all of your videos, so we're up to August of last year, is that you have quite a breadth of the things that you paint. It's not just faces, it's not just objects, and there's military stuff here too.
Yeah.
But
that's not the one you're looking at right now is not very military friendly though.
No, I get it. It's
quite the dissertation on what I think is the current military industrial complex. So there's a lot of symbolism in that painting. One, the flag is upside down as a sign of distress. Yeah.
Go ahead.
Oh, okay. So yeah, I mean, it starts with the tag, when the rich wage war, it's the poor that die. And then I pull from the unite or die, which is a revolutionary term.
Right.
Calling the colonies together. The flag is upside down, which is a symbol of distress.
Yep.
Then you have on the left, you have the falling man from the World Trade Centers, which double as those stripes. The World Trade Centers were striped. And then on the right side, you have a character,
they're falling out of the airplane.
Falling out of the plane, which is the first deaths of the war on terror, where the people falling to their death, or, the 9/11 towers. And the last people dying in Afghanistan were actually Afghans that were clinging to the sides of the plane, also falling to their death.
Oh, right.
So the juxtaposition of the beginning and the end of the global war on terror, the same way, planes and people falling to their death. Right. So I was like, well, that's just too ironic to not capture. And then, so the painting is called Reflection. So that I just put on my old military stuff, stood in the mirror, took a picture from behind me, and then superimposed a skull instead of my face, as if I'm looking back at myself.
Got to.
And so, and then instead of a helmet, I put the Statue of Liberty.
Statue of Liberty, yeah.
Right, because where we're supposed to be, America is the beacon of freedom, right? Well,
right.
What do we export freedom? Over the last 20 years, our chief export has been death, right? We're really good at going to other countries and fucking them up.
Yeah.
Have we spread any democracy? Have we spread freedom? We have spread a lot of death. I mean, conservative estimates.
I think it goes back to what
Iraqis dead.
What definition of democracy are we using?
I'm not even using the word democracy. I'm using freedom.
Right.
So,
but we're supposed to be a republic, though.
Oh, I get it. And that's why I don't use the word democracy.
Yeah.
We're supposed to be exporting freedom.
Or we're a democratic republic is what we're supposed to be.
Yeah. But then you get into semantics and it doesn't matter for me. It's what is our chief export? It's war. And so that's what I was trying to capture in that painting. And that is not something you would put in an art show, right? And get a lot of like, oh, yeah. So do you have any paintings where you just drizzle painting on the canvas that's safe for my doctor's office or my dentist office that I don't have to explain to my guests? And like some of the heavier stuff that people don't. So I have to paint for myself. I can't paint for the audience because most people don't want to have that conversation with every guest that comes into their house.
Right.
So
they want it to be apolitical.
Yeah. You have people want safe.
Yeah.
They want art that is neutered, So that's when you go to art show.
Term to say, yeah.
Well, I could use impotent, which is also probably an apropos term for most art, because when you go to art shows, what do you get? So you have to lower your price, right? Because you have your average foot traffic of what they're willing to spend. You're competing against IKEA in a print, not an original piece,
or the other box stores,
Yep. So you're competing against that. So you're trying to create art you're trying to create something on canvas that's competitive with something from IKEA, but it's original. So you have to account for your time, your cost of materials, your travel, your food that you're eating while you're setting up the stand, the registration. And then you quickly realize how much time can I actually spend on creating quote unquote art before I lose money on this. And then you get to this, you go to the art shows and you get the same thing everywhere, which is most people using stamps, stencils, or dripping paint.
Yeah.
But that's what sells also. But it doesn't tell a story. And so for me, it's like
because it definitely has no depth.
Right. And that's not, like you as an author, you're not going to write a story that has no depth, right? You're trying to create a narrative, right? And So for me, it's I just paint for myself, not for. And if people like it, great, they can buy it. If they really want to know what it stands for, I'm happy to have that conversation too. But some of the people that buy it, they just buy it because they like the way it looks, or they have it fits the right space on their wall or the right color combination. Yeah. So, and then another layer of the depth is then the music that goes with the videos, right? So I video everything. I spent a good time.
Yeah.
Yes,
I don't know if anybody, can you hear it if I play it?
Yeah, but it's kind of loud.
You put those on YouTube though, right?
Yeah, my YouTube channel's got like 3 followers. So the best place to find my art is on either my LinkedIn profile or my Instagram profile.
Well, we can feel free to share all your links in our chat.
Okay.
And,
yeah. I mean, Instagram's the easiest, at bryce.n.hansen. That's the easiest way to find me. So
what is it?
At bryce.n.hansen.
That's that one's on LinkedIn, right?
That's Instagram.
Oh, sorry, Instagram.
Yeah. Yeah. I think in my bio on Instagram, it has my LinkedIn account. I post it both places.
And I'm putting it here for you guys.
Yep, that's it.
Okay. I still think your work is amazing.
Well, I appreciate it. Yeah, I'm trying to do more selective shows and try to be a little bit more. I want to be out there, but I have to be careful about what I show and where, and then what's the audience and what they're like. This piece behind me, I really like. It's one of my favorites, but it's a female having an orgasm with the dopamine chemical chain over it. It's one of my favorites, but it's up in my office. It's not something that people are going to like buy and be like, "Hey babe, guess what I bought today? Check this out." It's a girl having an orgasm. That's not you. So,
right.
Yeah, things that I want to paint for myself, not because they're necessarily family kid friendly.
No, I get it.
I should have asked before I said that. There might be kids listening to this and they're going to be like, "Daddy, what's that?" Sorry, parents.
No, I think, most of the audience, in case you didn't know, military broadcast radio is, it airs out internationally. We have an app and, you can download it, and we are getting, I think, balancing much more of the art side with the other things that we talk about, whether it's some newsy kind of stuff. We are fixing to be starting Monday. There's a big, huge, interesting movie that's a mutual, support for both the, it's Sony, by the way. Sony is supporting military broadcast radio, but we get to support this movie that has a military interest. So that's pretty exciting. And hopefully I don't get shot for, I don't get in trouble for saying that, but I'm trying to throw the teaser out, that MBR is giving veterans a voice. That's really what we're about, and trying to make sure that we, balance not just, the fluffy stuff or maybe fun stuff, but what you get out of being an artist, I mean, yes, this is something that you picked up before and you managed to,
Not money.
It's not about the money, but
did that.
But how does it help you? I'm assuming, I don't remember if we had that part of the conversation when I met you, but you were in Iraq or Afghanistan.
Both.
Right.
Yeah.
Both. So how does art help you with PTS? I'm assuming there's some, or, whatever you feel like discussing.
Sure.
And how do people who haven't explored that side? That was one of the things that I have figured out after getting out of the military. I did the mom thing, and then I was getting into the career and education thing. But I am just in the last few years started figuring out what is the rest of the stuff that Eva likes to do that I didn't ever have time to enjoy growing up the rest of those years. How does somebody balance what your experience has been and the benefit you get from art.
Mm-hmm.
Does that make sense?
Yep. So I think all of it is a vehicle, right? So I have friends that got into forging knives at like a home forge. I got buddies that really got into hunting. I paint. Other people they want to work on their car and tinker, whatever it is. It's just, I can't speak to the female audience because our brains are wired differently, but guys like to be involved in something where they can just focus and shut their brain off.
Yep.
Right. And then their brains then wander. So when I'm painting, I shut my brain off. And then it starts wandering to an area, and then I don't know where it's going to go. Usually it goes to a place of like anger and disappointment and something along those lines. Right. But then now my brain is completely blocked out except art. And then my brain can start slowly unpacking and pulling on threads over time. And then kind of disassociating certain incidences and the pain or PTS with the incident. And now it's being moved in another portion of your brain, which is creative and functional and productive. So now you're saying, all right. And so I was actually did an experiment with a guy who was working on his PhD, and he was doing the same study, but with baseball. So it hooked up to brains and everything, took us to batting cages. And he's like, all right, now I want you to go out there and hit the ball as a baseline. Okay. Now I want you to go out there and try to hit the baseball, but I want you to do a deep dive, go to the darkest place you can. I want you to basically self-impose depression episode right now, right? Like have like a PTS, like in self-induced, whatever that looks like for you, and go try to hit the baseball. Right. And we're like, okay, sure. That's evil and twisted. And like Hippocratic oath, do no harm kind of thing. And then you go and they're measuring you while your brains and doing psych tests before and during and after. And then he's like, all right, like just candid, how do you feel? And I was like, yeah, I actually feel pretty good. And so his whole premise, and he's backing it by science, through different experiments, and he explained it. And I was like, oh my goodness, that's what I've been doing in art for 10 years. And
so I wonder if it sounds like it's kind of the same thing that I did when I wrote my book, Welcome to My People Garden. I used the parable of the sower. All of the mess in front of us, those are the lies that we believe that others have told us or that we told ourselves. These are lies. You got to clean the vines out, right? Remember, wait a minute, vines. You got to clean the vines out before you can go forward or even look at the ground. But the big thing about the ground is finding those buried, rocks, those things that we shoved in, the figurative filing cabinet, and we just haven't dealt with it. These are rocks. The parable of the sower talks about rocks, but it sounds in some ways doing that ultra, worst event thing, thinking about it, and then hitting the ball is in some ways a parable or a parallel to uncovering the rock that you thought you had buried. And now you've created that empty space, but you gotta find something good to put back in there.
Yeah. So his premise is that similar to that, which is like, you're taking ideas in your brain that are usually take you downward, but now I need you to split your focus. Don't just focus on the things that are causing you PTS, but I also need you to be functional right now. And I need you to focus on the ball, which is a fine motor skill, and trying to hit it. And so you're disassociating by rewiring your brain of saying, hey, these bad things, usually when you get into depression, you don't want to do anything, but now you're forced to do something. And so you're disassociating, doing nothing, and just sitting in a dark place and going in a downward spiral with, oh, I can have these thoughts and still be productive and still functional and still be focused on hitting the ball, which could be literally the ball or going to work or living for your family or whatever it is, career-wise or mission-wise, whatever it is you're trying to do. You're disassociating the pain and the stigma that's self-induced. And you're like, no, I can still have those experiences. I can still be functional. It's not an excuse to not be functional. And so it could be cars, it could be sports, it could be hunting. For me, it's art. So when I'm painting, I can have those ideas and be like, okay, now instead of associating bad PTS incidences and ideas with depression and anger, now they're actually associated with art and being productive and being creative, and there's positivity behind those things, right? So it's taking the PTS from one side of the brain with depression and moving it over to productivity and creativity.
Have you seen
PTSD lies now? So now it generates productivity and creativity.
Have you seen an evolution of the art that you do where it has gone from looking darker to now a lighter,
I go through phases, and I wouldn't say that I'm painting anything specifically, I'm not painting Thomas Kincaid, the light in the forest, illuminating.
Oh,
no,
yeah.
That kind of stuff. So when I first got out of the military, I was painting almost exclusively like nudes, sublime eroticism, things like that, because at that time, sex was the only thing that would register on my feelings spectrum.
Okay.
I had no feelings. I had either anger or ecstasy. There was nothing in between. Everything else was numb and void, right? And so I wanted to have more sex and more aggressive sex and more crazy sex to feel anything, right? I just numb, and that was the only way I could feel anything. And so my art reflected that. And then I started having kids, and my wife's like, you can't put these on the walls. We want to have friends, and people are going to come over and be like, these people are weird. Everybody has sex, but they don't want to talk about sex in polite society, which I think is stupid. But that's, I live in Texas. It's the Bible Belt.
I get it. I think as part of it is also, like, I lived in Germany for a few years, and they have a
completely different relationship with sex. Yeah.
But the body also, right? Yeah. It is not just about sex. It is about how they what is it, the word? The visual body is not
necessarily
sexualized. The body is the body.
And it's an amazing piece of art. It's amazing, right?
Right.
But I think Americans in their Puritan roots have over-sexualized just nudity in general, right? And but no, and then I did a lot of military stuff because I was like, oh, that was when I was trying to sell stuff and gain a following, and people are like, oh, just do what you do. Be a soldier. That's what they expect from you. That's what they want to buy from you. You have a story to tell. So paint what the audience wants. Paint, monkey. Dance for them, clap your little cymbals, and that's what they want. And so I did a lot of military stuff thinking that was the right thing to do, and I hated it. I hated all of them. I'm like, I don't want to paint military stuff, and I have since then. And then I moved on I went to like a psychedelic paintings, like things that kind of reminisce. So I went down to Mexico and I did ibogaine, which is a very potent, powerful psychedelic that heals the brain. Rewires and generates neural reconnectivity, and has had a profound impact on my life and my family. And so I went through 5 or 6 paintings that kind of like hemmed around that incident. And now I'm kind of getting into more religious undertone paintings. So recent one I did was the Pale Rider that you scrolled through before, of death on a pale horse, which is from the book of Revelations,
right?
Walking through a valley of bones. And I'm painting the sequel to that right now, which is a man on a horse basically trying to get away from him, also in the same valley of bones. And death is the paintings are going to go right next to each other. They're being sold as a pair. And so the death is coming for the man, and he's walking through a valley of bones. Obviously there's a lot of victims that have been claimed beforehand. Right. And the undertone is like, not yet. I know you're going to catch me, but just not yet. Like, I got one more thing to do. You can't, you're coming for me. But so that's more narrative, more from the buyer that he's trying to capture in that. So that he gave me a narrative, and he's like, hey, can you capture this image to go along with the first one? So, yeah.
So you have a buyer for those two already?
Yeah. So I had the fastest I've ever sold one. Was in about 18 minutes. I posted it on LinkedIn, and 18 minutes later it was sold, and then followed up by another commission. He's like, this is exactly what I was looking for, because it's a segue into a conversation I've been having with myself, and this is what I want you to capture. And he gave me this 3-paragraph narrative, and I'm like, I got it. I know what you're looking for. And so that's
you could visualize what he was conveying,
but in my own style. If they tell me, hey, here's a picture of I had one person reach out to me and said, here's a picture of my uncle, and here's a picture of his best friend, and they're 2 different photos from Vietnam. They were never in a photo together. Can you paint them next to each other as if they're having a great time? And here's a picture from my phone of a Polaroid that was taken 40 years ago. And I'm like, and they're like, and my budget's $80.
Oh,
okay. To include shipping. And I'm like, all right, well, that puts me down to about $50 worth of work. Right. So I'm going to give you a $50 piece, $50 painting.
That's an insult.
And then they're like, this isn't what I was expecting. I just expected more from you. And I'm like, well, for $50, this is what you get.
What? Yeah, really?
Yeah. And, and honestly, I Venmo'd the money back. I was like, just keep it. I was like, I don't want to do it. So there's some commissions I'm learning to say no. Like people will be like, oh, I want to do this. No, that's not for me. I had a buddy. He goes, my wife's really into mermaids, and we've been going through a fight, and I want to show her that I'm with her. So I want you to paint a picture of me and her both as mermaids embracing. I was like, no, I can't. That crosses a line for me. I know you. I can't paint you as a mermaid. That's a line I'm not crossing. So I'm trying to learn to say no to some commissions. If I like it, I'll do it. If I'm inspired by it. Otherwise, I just want to paint what I want to paint for me. And if you like it, you can buy it. If not, I really don't care because it's for me.
Right. Well, hopefully you find that right venue where you can get it out there more. I mean, is the YouTube working or is...
No, I have like 3 followers.
No. All right. What's the YouTube? Come on.
I don't know because I don't know. I haven't put anything on it in a while. I don't even know. YouTube, I don't know.
So do you want me to share your Facebook?
No, Facebook is private. Instagram is the best way to find it. Okay. I might have closed my YouTube page. It might be out there somewhere. I don't know.
It's probably out there.
Instagram's the best way to see my art, honestly. Or LinkedIn. If you follow me on LinkedIn, that's also where I put my art as well.
Right. I think I follow you there too.
Yeah.
I don't know. For some reason, I didn't see your stuff for the longest, and you suddenly showed up in my feed again, and I was like, I need to have him on. Between you and why am I brain cramping on the other guy's name? Because y'all were just phenomenal.
Yeah, I have to think of his name because I follow him on Instagram as well.
I remember I followed him on Instagram too. Great. I don't know. I think that
I'll find him and send you his information. I'll search through Instagram.
Okay. Cause I'd love to have him on again and talk about his art because your art, both of your art was really totally different. Right. I mean, and he had the very vibrant colors, which was, it's also pleasing to the eye. Yours, I love that there's a very intellectual piece. Not that his wasn't too. It just coming from a different angle that y'all both had.
His Instagram is he.art33. Jared Hamilton.
He.art.33.
No, he.art33.
Okay.
Jared Hamilton. Yeah, he does really amazing stuff.
This is it, right?
Yeah, not the dot, not the second dot.
Oh, not the, oops, let's see. I don't know if it'll let me do that. Let's see.
He.art33. Yeah, that's him.
All right.
Yeah, he does really good art as well.
Yeah, I need to connect with him. I know I had followed both of y'all at that event. And I know I follow the lady that did the Native American stuff too. I need to have her on as well. Sometimes her stuff will come up on my feed. I'll have to reach out to her.
Guy there, and I don't know what his name is. Maybe you'd have to reach out to the
If I reach out to, why am I brain cramping on her name? Starts with a C, doesn't it?
The organizer.
Yeah.
He does black and white pencil drawings that were phenomenal.
Okay.
I mean, it's world-class detail. And he's charging like $200. I'm like, bro, how long did that take you? He goes, I think it was like 120-hour drawing. I'm like, dude, you gotta, you need to like 10x that. He goes, no, I don't think so. He goes, nobody will pay that. And I'm like, well, that's also true, but that's the problem with artists when it comes to money, right? They either are desperate to make a sale just to make a sale, right? Because that says, oh, I'm an artist. I'm actually sold,
right?
But then they undervalue their talent. But you're also competing with what is the purchasing power.
Yeah.
Right. So
no, I get it.
You're being sold, or do you just get rid of your stuff? Because at those prices, he can't even cover the cost of his trip because he lives down in Houston. So with a hotel and driving, I'm like, you're not even breaking even. You got to sell something at giveaway garage sale prices just to cover your cost to break even. And so, it's a tough. I don't want to call it business because it's not a business. It's not
a business. You're not doing it for business. You're doing it because
it's a passion.
Right. Yeah. It's a passion. It's an outlet. It's also an outlet, right? Because an idle mind is a devil's playground. And it keeps you focused. I think that was one of the things that even when I interviewed Richie after we did our race car driving, I interviewed him and because we're waiting for people to finish up and I said, so what do you like about the racing? And he said, honestly, it's just nice getting out there and not thinking about anything else. But I felt the same way too. You tune out the rest. You don't have time to think about anything else out there in the world because you're just navigating around the track. But the same thing when I've gone scuba diving, it's you in the bubbles, it's bubble therapy. And there's not any time to really think about anything else other than, oh, there's a turtle. Oh, there's, whatever creature down there, you just kind of enjoy it, but you're in that moment. And I'm guessing the same thing for you that you feel that, hey, I'm in the moment of art when you're painting. It's you and the brush.
Yeah, it's whatever I can do to turn my brain off, right? So for me, it's art, exercising. I love jujitsu. Maybe scuba diving is a great one as well because if you make a mistake, you're dead. You have to concentrate. That's why I like jujitsu. It's hard to think about the drama of the day when somebody's trying to murder you. So whatever I can do to turn off my brain, that's where it's at for me.
So how does your wife think about it otherwise? Did things improve that when you started doing more of the art or just,
I think that, it's very slow organic growth. With the art therapy, very slow. I wasn't having as much anger outbursts after a couple years, right? I don't think anybody should look at painting or being a mechanic or forging knives or hunting to be like a miracle cure, right?
Sure.
And I think all the veteran organizations that offer that stuff, it's great, it's well-intentioned, but as long as the expectations are reasonable, that this is a step on a very lifelong journey, depending on how far your PTS has riddled you. But I think for me, the only thing that I can say is the psychedelics completely transformed, and I became like a new person. So art therapy could have been the rest of my life, but psychedelics in one night did what the next 50 years of painting could have done, but I did it. So.
I know people who go through some of that stuff. I would love to find out the program that you went through, if you can message me afterwards and maybe I can share it with some of the folks that I know. Was that something that was through the VA or?
No. The VA.
No, not the VA, but was it a nonprofit?
Yeah, it was through a veteran nonprofit. Yeah.
Okay. Yeah. So I would love to have that information to share.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, in the United States, you can go through a company called MAPS, MAPS.
Okay.
And I went through a company called NETS. and they partner with a company in Tijuana called Ambio Life.
Okay.
Yeah. So military, civilians, a lot of business guys go down there. Basically, anytime you get to a stage in your life when, like you're on your commute to work and you get to a certain red light and you're making a turn and you're just like you woke up great, kissed the kids to school, had a cup of coffee, and you're feeling high in life. And then you get to an intersection on your way to work and your whole countenance changes. You're like, fuck, again, another day. Yeah, you need to do something to wake up, right? Because you're not living, you're just existing, and you're just waiting for death to come find you. So people like that, there's a lot of business guys that are like, maybe you should look for alternative treatments, because that's the life you're living is not a life worth living. You're just waiting to die, and it doesn't have to be that way. You could actually have an abundant life.
No, I try to encourage people, that yes, but it's one step at a time. I'm a hiker. It's one step at a time. Yep. And as long as you're taking one step at a time, we're not trying to, be a through hiker on the AT. But as long as you're taking one step at a time, that's better than no steps.
Yeah. And enjoy each step, right? And don't be discouraged that you haven't gotten very far, but you're making forward progress, and that's all that matters.
Well, thank you so much. We just have 4 minutes left, and the last minute is dedicated towards the closing video. Really appreciate you coming on. If you ever have anything,
technical difficulties.
No, it's okay. We figured it out. Figured it out. I'm sorry you dropped your phone and the camera broke, but I really enjoyed having you on. I was, amazed when I saw your work before, and it was very refreshing to see your stuff again. And hopefully you keep enjoying it, and maybe teach classes. Maybe you can do some Zoom, just teaching people how do you pick up the brush and just start, I don't know. I'm just throwing that out as an idea, sharing it,
Happy to do it. If somebody's really interested, all I can do is teach you what my high school art teacher taught me. And that's all I know.
That's all right. So
just keep practicing. Yeah.
I get it.
Thank you so much for having me on. I really appreciate it. Maybe I'll see you at one of those events someday.
I hope so. Look forward to it. And don't worry, it'll be shared. I'll tag you going out, on the replay, so that you can maybe share some more of your art and add your links on and everything too.
Yeah. If anybody's got any questions or want to do a deeper dive on different pieces and their meaning and the significance it plays and how it interplays with PTS and healing and art therapy, or anything in between, or you want to buy it, give me a call. Thank you so much for having me.
Fabulous. And he's at bryce.n.hansen. That's his Instagram handle. So I will show that up there again. Bryce.n.hansen on Instagram. Thank you so much, Bryce.
Cool.
I appreciate it.
All right,
yeah. Bye. So, folks, we do have still a pretty good lineup of guests that are coming up in the next few weeks. And I had Canva problems, and let's see if I know what my last little thing was. So Ricky Ritchie is coming up next week. Ricky Ritchie, November 8th, I'm supposed to have a remote, and Brian Gibson is on November 15th. Doug Peterson on November 22nd. I have January 3rd booked already with a friend of mine, and have the last slot for November, and then some of those Saturdays for December. If you're interested and want to be on the From Pain to Purpose radio show, please reach out to me, and happy to have you on. Till next week, you guys have a great and blessed week, and give veterans a voice.
Ladies and gentlemen, thank you for tuning in to Military Broadcast Radio. As we wrap up today's show, we want to remind you that the podcast of today's episode will be available right after we go off the air. So if you missed any part of the show or want to listen again, be sure to check it out. And remember, we're here to support and honor our veterans. Your stories and experiences matter, and we are committed to giving you a platform to share them. That's right. We're here to give our veterans a voice. So don't forget to catch the podcast and stay connected with us. Giving our veterans a voice.